What's going on? What's going on? Sometimes things are hard to figure out. Sometimes things are hard to figure out. Oh. I have been pushing the compiler forward. It's true. Sometimes things are hard. So what I'm wrestling with right now, I'm picking up on where we were in restructuring asked using on Sunday. And the issue that I'm having now is there's certain things that we rewrite and we desugar as using. So for example, when you have an anonymous struct in some scope, like inside another struct, then we sort of put a using on there that says anonymous struct means that all those names come into our scope. So, you know, we sort of implement that by desugaring into a using. Which is fine, except that we need to do all that kind of thing twice. Like I used to be doing that in the parser right here. But it's like if somebody submits a syntax tree that they manually made, you want them to be able to make something that looks like the syntax. You don't want them to have to magically know, oh, if you put a struct, then you have to put a using in front of it for it to work, right? So I want to factor things so that they happen either way. And that's what I'm dealing with. As I do this rewrite, I'm dealing with trying to improve the cleanliness of that as well. What do I think of Zed Shah? He's a web programmer guy, right? I don't know. I don't know. Converted from a prime sub to a tier 1 sub. We're rich. We are rich. We could buy a coffee now. You buy a membership to the boat club. I don't know. I feel like the boat club is probably more expensive, but maybe not. Okay. So I'm wrestling with all of these issues, and I'm just going to focus on one at a time. So one of them is what happens when you have a bare struct like this. Okay, so here, when we import statements, we add the statements. Here we could call something that says we could call something that says maybe generate implicit using. Or let's just do that. Let's just say right, and then this thing down here as well. Yeah, okay. Desugar, scope, and check added statement. That's going to be this thing. And let's call it scope, desugar, and check added statement. Because desugar scope sounds like verb, noun, activity. Interp, statement, and I feel like I wanted a third argument here. Anyway, we do this every time we add a statement. So this is a that target block. So block. Okay. Okay. So we're going to check in a minute, but we're going to check this. If the expression is a struct or enum, hell's this? Oh, quick lambda. Modify. Where's the regular run directive? Add statement. Is there already add statement in here? Okay. All right, this could easily get weird. Expert. Okay, so that is going on. There. If it's a struct, or an enum, okay. Okay, so we're doing these things. We make a using this is a problem. Like, how do we know? This if statement is meant to run inside the parser. And we're not necessarily in the parser. We could be called from the messenger. How do we know? See, our scope controls do not necessarily... Wow, we're piling up stuff I gotta look into. This is gonna be a mess. It's gonna break so hard, but then we'll fix it. We will fix it. Okay. From here, we will say add the scope. Oh, wait, no, not add to scope, add statement. Right. Because we want that and then that. We have a potential for an infinite loop here, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Dude, it's subscriber day. Look at all these people. Okay, so we got to go back to the parser. And this thing, I think, is also still in the parser. Like, this is not good. Unhandled scope entry. Like, why are we doing that separately? Unhandled scope entry. Like, this should be add statement. Declaration, compound declaration, using whatever. Okay, well, we we certainly have more to do before this compiles, but once it compiles, we're going to be in the zone of like programs don't even parse again because I screwed something up. So we're going to have an interesting time. So this marked as using flag, I changed to be something else. Oh, this is the other half now. So that was half the sort of cases. The other half, I need to check in the parser and see what I did. But, you know, one thing I did on the previous stream was I said, hey, declarations that have a using in front, we used to mark with this flag, and now I want to put an asked using on top. I decided that's actually bad. So we're going to keep this weird thing where if it's a declaration, you just put a flag, and if it's an expression, you don't. And that's a little bit strange, but we can at least put a simple check for that when people submit syntax trees in case it's wrong. But it's just better for declarations to just have a flag on it for many reasons. So we're going to keep that. It's still going to be a lot simpler than what we had before this refactor. But it will be something that I'll be keeping an eye on in the future of like, should we unify this or not? So the old flag that I removed was declaration is marked as using, and I made a new flag called declaration is marked as using XXX new that I will use. I will change the name back to this after we're done with the refactor and everything compiles and runs correctly. All right, so declaration is marked as using. Which of these do I want to attack first? Let's look in typer, because I think a lot of these from the part of the code that they're in look like they're in check that types match or something. I don't know where these are, but those could just be changed to be the new flag if they're just about checking for anonymous members. Okay. This can go away eventually anyway, because import links aren't going to be a declaration, but whatever. Maybe do using insertion. That's not in, yeah, that's not in check the types match. Yeah, so this is not, so even though I said there's still going to be a flag on the declaration, what's going to happen is when we add that to that scope, then we will make a using. When we add the statement. We'll do that in a minute. So I think we just delete this, which is good because we don't need more weird code in declaration infer. If there's one thing we need to simplify, it's declaration infer. All right. If it's marked as using and it's not complete, okay, maybe do using insertion. Okay. Why did my Emacs just freeze? Garbage collecting, please wait. Okay, this shouldn't happen. So we change this to a flag called insertion is complete. And that's going to be true. Okay. Maybe do using insertion. C++, so we have to do everything twice. Okay. There still are going to be many problems. And really, this is just a very thin wrapper around this other thing. So it's maybe not worth existing. We'll see. This is wrong. So this is a special thing where if something is a parameter declaration to a procedure, we don't mark it as a statement, so it doesn't go through that code that we just looked at. And in fact, it's an exception because you don't want to put the using in the scope where it lives. You want to put the using in the body. So maybe we hook into that. Like, I don't... So we will change this once we get things working, because this really shouldn't... This is a Byzantine and weird thing to be where it is, and we're probably doing some stuff that we shouldn't do. Anyway, like this, like the whole reason this is up here is the fact that this expression already has a type because it was in the header. It doesn't make sense. There's a cleaner way to do this now, but one thing at a time. We just want to actually get it to do. So if it's marked and it's in the argument of the body, we want to go back to this thing. If it's a declaration, okay, hold on. Let's not type all this. Declaration flags. Okay. So if it's got this flag set, we're just going to call out to a thing that says add using for declaration interp block decal. And that's going to be down here. So we do this, and this is going to make a using and add that. So we make a new using, we copy the location info, do all this stuff. Maybe at some point we'll factor this together with that other thing up there, but I'm not worried about that right now. And then we add a statement. I'm going to see if that's an optional argument. It'll be cleaner not to mention it. So we do that, and then add using for declaration, interp body block decal. So the reason we say body block is it's going to be a different scope from the enclosing scope of the declaration. We're going to say, we're going to cast this and then auto body block is body. I think it's just body block. I don't know. Maybe we have to take the address of that. And then we call this add using for declaration, turn true. This assignment and conditional near line 300. Uh-oh, of what file? What file? This one? Oh, up there. Wow, I never make that mistake. Thanks for catching that. It's probably in the warnings, though. All right. Why is the block in the header? That's weird. I don't know why I do that. Okay. Thought I just called it body block. What? Other file. Inside polymorphic function. I'm not sure that I set this. So we're going to assert that, and that's going to fail all the time when we didn't set it. Do insertions for using. See, it's not telling me All right, this whole thing needs to get rewritten. Uh-oh, this whole importer thing. Now, asked using is a scope entry. Whatever. Wait, why would we have an identifier? Oh, right. Okay, yes, we would. Okay. Okay, if we have an expression, if it's an identifier, we cast it. What is the not type inst? If we say using X some type that has a type inst but no expression, so it's guaranteed to have storage. We are looking for this. It has an expression but no inst. That would be the equivalent to that, I think. I'm not sure I understand that. Okay, this already should be taken care of elsewhere. Okay, we somehow finished this file. Finished. Are there any questions about what's going on? No, that's not a coroutine yield. It's just a stop working on the part of the tree that we're working on right now and go to a different part of the tree. Have I talked about how I write UI stuff? It's immediate mode GUI. It's the only good type of GUI. Let's see what's going on in the Elite chat lounge. I hope it's nothing embarrassing. People are talking. About things. Facebook. That looks cool. Modern battle zone. Oh, they announced my preventing the collapse of civilization talk. I didn't know. I didn't know. Maybe I'll find the link and I can tweet that. Being watched. There's the general is nobody ever uses that. I don't even I think it might be locked for everybody now. I don't know. This is sort of the main channel, and then there's a show off your projects, which people actually use, which is cool. Look at all these projects. Look, this is witness puzzle tracing and like games, puzzle games, Dispontibus with good graphics. See, we've got our voice channel that nobody ever uses. But you know, no route. I can't connect to our voice channel. Oh my God, it's a disaster. Voice channel must be programmed in JavaScript. Do I use like any MGUI libraries or just implement our own widgets? I tend to implement our own. If I knew, I mean, especially because we're doing all this stuff in our own programming language, so like, you know, there's that whole thing. If I knew of a good library that I thought would be good to build on, I might try it. I haven't looked at Omar's Dear MGUI library. It doesn't look like something that I would want to start with, though, because he doesn't seem very concerned about how things look. And it matters to me a lot how things look, so that's a little weird. But I might now. So for the past stuff, like when we did the GUI for the witness and previous projects, there just weren't any systems like that out there. Now there sort of are, but I don't know. That mugshot for my talk looks like it's from a character select screen. Maybe so. That was taken by Apple for their article. Let me see if I can find the link to the talk announcement. Oh, they just announced. It is from a character select screen. Look. Um, I don't know. I don't know where the. Okay. So there's not much more said about it than what's here. I know what it's going to be about, but you know, that's fine. Oh, Adam's going to be there. Remember him from the PlayStation game sharing commercial? What was the Piranha Plant fiasco? I didn't hear about that. TBA. Okay. I'll announce this later tonight on Twitter, but people here on the stream get to find out first about these speeches. What is the preventing the collapse of civilization talk about? It is about preventing the collapse of civilization. I believe it will be recorded. I will record it, at least on my phone. Hopefully the conference will record it and release it. I think they did. I think on YouTube I saw they at least last year like recorded the whole block of speeches or something. Anyway, let's get back to programming. Are there any questions about what I am doing specifically with this code right now? Can programming prevent the collapse of civilization? Currently, it looks like it's doing the opposite, hence the speech. So, I don't know. Is this a right-wing talk about saving Western civilization? I don't think I would characterize it about as right-wing. I would characterize it as I don't know. I wouldn't place it on the political spectrum at all. I would just say It's concerned with technical matters. Okay, and nobody had questions about the actual code, so let's go back to it. So, well, we've got some issues. So let's go to here. This can just be the new flag. This is an error check. So this is one reason why I wanted to have a flag there, is because it's used for error messages, and it's used to tell the user that these declarations are under the influence of using, because you care about that sometimes in the meta program. And so if we're going to have a flag there, we might as well use the flag. I don't know. All right, 271. That's obviously supposed to be expr. Why do I keep going to the wrong window? Entry. $278. This is decal. That's why I casted it, so that I could check those flags. Entry 283. Whoops. $302. Expression. Boom, boom, boom. 305. There ain't no this pointer. Parser new is a macro that assumes that the parser is doing allocation. And the reason for that is because the parser is in a separate thread, and it can allocate without synchronizing with anyone. This has to synchronize, and that's a little bit of a bummer, but we shouldn't be doing this very often. So it's not that bad. Hopefully. 1013. Oh, yeah. We should I think we need to put this back in. Declaration is marked as using exit new. Okay. We actually don't want that. And in fact, we want to check yourself before we wreck yourself. Okay. So we're going to check this and say not legal. Using is not legal on a compound declaration, jerk. Okay. Is a using declaration. Wait, does someone... All right. Well, we compile. I'll tell you right now, that doesn't mean too much. Using, oh, hey, everybody, good news. Good news, everybody. I would like to announce that we are attempting to index a null value or a nil value. Why don't I screenshot that and save this for my upcoming talk called Preventing the Collapse of Civilization. Okay. This is great. We get to attempt to index nil values all day now. It's awesome. Okay. Well, we're just going to start looking at these assertions and figuring them out. Expr is null. Why did I put expression instead of entry? Why does that sound so loud? We didn't assert, but we exited awful fast. Unable to parse a statement. Told you I did something real bad in the parser. Unable to parse a statement here. Now we got through some statements is the thing. Or did we? No, we didn't. This is like the first actual complete statement. So I think we just do this. Yeah, second time. The first one is the outer declaration, and then this is the thing. And we're just doing a switch statement on what keyword is it. Oh, this thing, okay. We're calling add statement directly. And the problem is that our caller has a statement array that's local that he's expecting us to use, I think. So we have an entry. We're going to go into our thing that we factored out. It's a declaration. I don't know why we're doing that there and then not calling add statement, but this is like needlessly Byzantine. But okay, we're calling add statement. We're adding this to block arrow statements. Wait, check parse scope entry again. Okay, we gotta fix that. Anyway, so we come out, we return, and then this thing is a local array that nobody frickin' cares about. Oh, because we're calling add statement down here. See, we just moved everything around. I was like, why aren't we calling add statement? And the reason is we're doing it down here. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. So actually, let's step through that again. Because like, this check parse scope entry. So we want to delete one of these. Do we want to delete this one at 4125? Or I think we want to delete the 4125. Okay. Because this does check parse scope entry. Although, why are we passing the parser? That's for allocation purposes, I think, right? Yeah, parser or null. It's fine. It'll be null for now, and we can bring that back. Okay. So we get rid of that. This thing that does add statement is just that, right? Hey, we got further. We got to line 239. I kind of wonder what is different about this that would cause us to fail. That's very strange. And also, this we're calling add statement down here. See, here's the thing. The reason we have this statement array is because we used to do that desugaring into multiple statements here, but we don't do it anymore. we're just going to return something. Here we're just going to return return expression after this. Okay, all these control paths return a value. We're going to get rid of statements because we always return one thing now, which is going to be more efficient. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to refactor around this desugaring, because I was never very happy with this kind of construct. Parse one statement shouldn't have to return multiple statements. You know what I'm saying? I think you do. All right, so parse one statement. Now, and then we can get rid of this. This is just for the context parsing. Okay. So here, again, statements array. We get rid of that. And then here, this doesn't have to be a for loop anymore. And frankly, most of this stuff all this stuff, quite honestly, should be here. Because again, this is this gets called for users submitted asts as well as for incoming parsed things. Oh boy, we caused problems. We caused problems. Hello, how's it going? Parse one statement must return a value. Look at all these returns that ain't returning values. Oh my God. It's so many. See, parse expression. I think can return null. Just fine. And that's like if we get through all of this, I think we can just return null. Which maybe that's not good, but that's how it is right now. So I want to make sure to handle it. Parse one statement with no statements array. This is no longer true comment. Whoops. Right, no, this is this. Okay. Forgot we had a report parse error that we prefer to use here. Oh, there's no fucking, okay. Report parse arrow. Lexer okay. Report parse error. Lexer and token. Statements undeclared identifier. Boy. We sure made some work with that simplification. That's weird. Okay. Phew. Did I actually try to compile run Sokoban last time the compiler built? Yes. And we're not even close to parsing again, much less doing anything else. C, identifier expected in declaration. Because we changed, I might have deleted the using detection out of, Well, we're up to 245. We got 6 lines further than last time. After that giant code change that I did, that's pretty good. I expected to fall back. I didn't expect it in declaration. So parse scope entry probably used to have a using at the beginning. And I deleted it because I was not correct about what I was doing. Let's see. Diff. If there's a using, we do this. Okay. Okay. We're going to go back to this design because I decided that this was an appropriate design. Let's put this, though, see, okay. That already happens elsewhere. Okay, so we're going to do this here. I don't think we do that. Okay. Implicitly castable member. Oh, is argument marked as using? Right. We're actually going to switch this back. Bible thump. We actually, I don't know if we have struct literals right now. We will, and I think I put them in at one point, but I feel like they maybe don't handle every case or something. I don't remember. We haven't, it's an area that I haven't prioritized because there's been too many other things. 479. Look how far we got parsing. Attempt to use an imperative statement inside a struct body. Now that is not true. So that's going to be, there's something that checks to see if something is a declaration. And it's not checking for compound declarations. So let's see. It's an operator declaration. This is like sanity check, non-imperative scope. Okay, that's fine. I just didn't know about compound declarations for some reason. Okay, we parsed the whole file, I guess. And now we're on to the next stage. Unhandled expression type in flatten. That is going to be the compound declaration. I don't know why we're trying to flatten it, because it should have what is the other one? By desugaring. It should have ast removed by desugaring on it, but maybe it doesn't. Sure should. Let's see. Okay. So are we doing, yeah, we're doing the block statements. This is a compound declaration. The flags are to, etc. To, etc. Okay. I don't know why we're doing things that are removed by desugaring here, but we shouldn't. Maybe it was always the case that well, that's another if statement I'd rather not have, but it seems like one that it's the if statement we need, but not the if statement we deserve, or something. Export notes. Export, let's just see where we're at there. Brah. Decal notes. That's quite wrong. I bet this isn't really a declaration. It is a compound declaration. Ah ha ha. Duff's device bit me in the butt. Thank you, Mr. Duff, for making Duff's device part of C and therefore by extension C++ and screwing up switch statements for everybody in the universe. Okay, so this discussion about whether people or compilers can make faster code, okay, it's like this. For regular, straightforward drudgery of like, these are the statements, how do you generate the best code for it? People would probably do a better job in the end, but it's so much work that you just can't have people do it. So the compiler is going to do it. And it's a very error-prone work because you're tweaking assembly instructions and stuff, right? So you obviously want the compiler doing that. But the way you actually make fast code is by making high-level decisions about what should be done and how the data should be laid out and how the code should respond to various things that it sees, right? And those are things that people have to do, at least right now, because you need to solve general AI in order to do a better job at that, right? And so everybody thinks that optimizing programs means like micro-optimizing, right? But all the micro-optimizing in the world will not help you if you're reading a linearly linked list that's like sparse in memory, right? So that's the thing that you have to keep in mind. And so with this new language, we're trying to gear it in such a way that programmers can express high-level performance decisions in a relatively abstract and not instruction-level tweaky way, right? That's one of the things that we try to do. So then you can have a large impact on your program's performance without trying to beat the compiler at instruction scheduling or whatever. Yeah, so anyone who tells you that the compiler is like smarter than a person at generating code, that's just false. People keep saying that, but it's proven to be false again and again. Even at micro-optimizing, humans are better, right? The problem is just that, yes, you would grow old and die if your job was to micro-optimize all your code. So even though the compiler does worse than a human, we let it do that job because damn, that's a thing that we really need to automate, right? So we pay a cost for letting the compiler do it. I mean, for assuming a good programmer who understands the machine, right? Like if the compiler doesn't understand memory locations, right, like most JavaScript programmers, then of course they're not going to be able to micro-optimize their code, right? But like assuming a reasonably good programmer who understands the machine and wants to do a good job, yes, they will beat the compiler. Absolutely. But just, it takes you so long to do that that you'll never get anything done. That's just how it plays out. It's not really a troll. Like people, like this comes up, people have been saying this since I was in college. Like when I was in college, compilers did not do nearly as much optimization as they do now. And there was this phrase, I forget exactly what it was, but like the compiler is smarter than you are or whatever. And it's not true. It's smarter than you are if you're a bozo, but it's not true in the general case. So, yeah. You missed the point. It's not about compiler output, but parser generator output. I don't know what you're talking about then. Parser generator output. My definition of reasonably good is equivalent to super rock star by most programmer standards today. That is why I'm giving a speech next month called Preventing the Collapse of Civilization. Do I think a compiler could ever reach a point where it is better at micro-optimization? If not, could you explain why they will never be better? I don't think I would make a statement as strong as they will never be better. I mean, compilers can beat the shit out of human players at playing Go now. So that seems to have things in common with code micro-optimization in terms of the kinds of thought you might do. So no way am I going to say that compilers will never be better than people. They certainly are not currently. Let's say that. They were talking about, why are you writing the parser by hand instead of a parser generator? Well, you guys go make your implementation of a approximately equivalent programming language that uses a parser generator. I'll make mine with a hand-coded parser, and we'll see whose language is better in the end. That is what I have to say about that. Will I post a talk on the YouTube channel? Well, it won't probably be my video. It'll probably be the conference's video. So I don't know how that works. I could favorite it or something. I do think actually that code optimization is an application of neural networks that nobody has really done yet. Like, you don't want the neural network giving you the exact output code, but picking what optimization strategy to apply next so that you don't just brute force a bunch of shit all the time. I think that could be really promising, right? So the actual output is determined by, you know, a hopefully proven correct optimization. It's not like the output of our neural network, but the neural network chooses the strategy. That could be pretty good. Of course, then we go down the road of making compilers less predictable about what the hell they're going to do because they're even harder to understand, but who knows? So going back to the point that of someone saying it takes a super genius programmer to write assembly, it doesn't actually. I mean, to write optimized assembly, it doesn't really. Like, if you have good tools that show you what's going on, both in terms of profiling and memory and all that, it's not that bad. It's just, yes, it's very labor intensive. It's tremendously more labor intensive than writing C++, so you don't want to do it, right? Note that I am not attempting to write this compiler in assembly instructions that are optimized for my CPU. That's just not how I'm doing it. Do we have those tools anywhere? I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked at the stuff that the reverse engineering guys have lately, but it seems like it's pretty good, you know. Like all the like reverse engineering disassembler craziness that those guys use. I don't know. So you just need that in a regular debugger and you'd be fine. Can I show a breakdown of line of code of the compiler by file? Yeah, we show that once in a while, right? We go count. Well, okay, first we have to index a nil value. Okay, let's make that clear. After we've indexed a nil value, we can do count, and then we see, blank comment code. So the biggest file by a significant margin is type checking, then generating the bytecode internal representation, then interfacing with LLVM, which frankly is not that great, because if you look at like our x64, which actually outputs actual instructions, is like, 65% the size of the LLV. It's, yeah. That said, LLVM converter was written by not me, and so it may be doing more than it needs to because of lack of clarity about how the compiler works or something. Because I'm still sort of the only person who really knows how the compiler is set up. There's potentially a factor there that's not all LLVM's fault. But if you saw the other day, when I tried to rewrite that routine that just adds a 64-bit pointer and or integer to an integer of arbitrary size, if you saw how much damn casting we had to create, how many casting nodes we had to create, it's no surprise that it's a lot of code and that it's slow to generate output, because damn, dude. Okay. And then just various other modules of the compiler. And, there's sort of the files that do the real work. Let's say down to around here is all the serious work, and then stuff that binds the universe together, like the force. Bet we can find a file with more comments than code. Probably not. Maybe a smaller file. That's just not my style to have that many. Oh, there we go. Unicode.h. It's a header file. I don't know if header files count. Yeah, it's not a huge program. It's 47,000 lines. I mean, GCC is like 13 million lines or whatever. Right? How big? That's even from a 4 years ago statistic. I don't know how big it is now. LLVM, I don't know how big it is, but it's probably pretty big. Does LLVM actually provide substantial improvement in the performance of the final output? Yes. We do not optimize our output code at all right now. Zero optimization. In fact, less than zero optimization, really. So we really do rely on LLVM right now to have a fast running program. That is absolutely the case. You're pretty sure GCC is in the 20s now? Yeah, it's not a fair comparison. So GCC does do way more. First of all, it's got a lot of optimization in it, right? So all our optimization is hidden inside LLVM, right? If you were to add all the LLVM libraries to this line of code count, it would be a lot higher. Secondly, GCC compiles a lot of different programming languages. We only compile one programming language, right? So yes, it is not a direct or fair comparison. That said, there is something to be said for if you're going to use that program, you're taking on this giant 20 million line, technical weight. I don't want to say dependency exactly, but it's like that 20 million lines does mean that it evolves more slowly and improves more slowly for the parts that you care about, which is probably a minority of that 20 million lines. So it does matter that it's that big, for sure. By a factor of what does LLVM produce code that's 2 times faster, for example? I would say a lot more than 2 times. I don't know how much because we haven't measured, but more than 2 times faster, yes. I would say for tight loops, it's probably at least 10 times faster. For things that are not tight loops, I mean, for things that are memory bound, it's probably not really faster that much. But for loops, Like all the loop optimizations are not a joke. They really improve the speed of loops by a lot, and we don't do any of those. So we really lean on LLVM for that. Yeah, but you know, like GCC's, it's the heavy weight of GCC does matter. Like on the one hand, it's an interesting decision to tie all those languages together because you would say like, well, let's just make them have a common back end and blah, 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 right? On the other hand, GCC is not being very effective at competing with Clang right now. GCC might die because, I mean, I don't think it'll ever be that 0 people want to use GCC, but like Clang is winning. And that might be because just Clang is more agile than GCC right now. That said, Clang probably has a lot more people working on it now too. But again, I mean, that's probably mainly for practicality reasons, right? Like, Clang is not GNU license, right? What is Clang license? It uses the BSD license, right? So everybody in an actual commercial software company would rather support Clang than GCC, and that matters a lot. What about Microsoft's compiler? I don't know how big that is. Yeah, Clang is not a small program either. It's true. I do not know how many lines of code Clang is right now, but it is not small. But like, it's my impression that the reason Clang got big, like, I mean, big as in a lot of people wanting to use it, was because people kept telling the GCC guys, like, look, we need this to happen and we need that to happen. And the GCC guys just kept saying no, right? They just kept saying, no, we're not going to do that. We have our vision for the language and it doesn't include that. And Clang people said, okay. Or people said, okay, and went to Clang and built it into a competitor for GCC. So that's what happens. That's how the world works sometimes. I don't know. I mean, if I ever have that kind of problem, it'll be a good problem to have because it'll mean we got far enough to have that problem. But I don't know how I would respond to that problem, honestly. Okay. Let's get rid of this. So bright, so bright. That screen had a Fulbright scholarship. Okay, so why are we inferring? I bet this is also a compound declaration. No, it's a using. Ah, this is one that we just haven't done yet. Okay. So this has to call maybe apply using or whatever that function was called. And we need a case for it there. You know what we're going to have tonight? Maybe we're not. Okay, fucking, look at this. I'm trying to type an open brace in Emacs. I'm sorry, Dave, I can't let you do that. Args out of range. See the bottom line? Args out of range, colon 1, 467, 758. Okay, you know what? print screen. Save as collapse 2.png. Good thing I know how to work around this. Hey, I can type a brace now. That's great. Thank you, Emacs, for graciously letting me type a brace. Maybe do using insertion. Okay, wait. Can continue. I feel like decal enclosing scope is null. Yep. Preload line 130. Why is the enclosing scope null? Because we set it F, no? It's got no identifier. This is a funny business declaration. Okay, I think we'll just check enclosing scope here. This is a weird hack that is going to go away. I put a note in the to-do file to change this, but let's just figure out where this is made. I hate that I have to do. Wait, 0? What? What? How is it 0? This declaration has like no distinguishing properties. There's like nothing on it. It's just got some flags. 20000. Function argument or return. What? There ain't no. Ain't no function argument or return there. This is very weird. With this S being 0, I honestly don't know what to do. That is so weird. Like, unless this is the first thing that was ever created, which wouldn't make sense because we're at line 130 of the preload. Like, obviously we created some stuff before that. Where did this come from? Oh. Wait. If we use ast new instead of parser new, I think ast new. No, it should. I don't know, people. I don't know what to do. I'm glad you guys are thinking about the keyboards, though. Let me just look, because I'm unsure about background, let's just look up what ast new does. I'm pretty sure that it does put an S stamp on it, right? Set ast serial, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So why is this 0? It's like somebody made a declaration, stamped it with argument or return, which is weird. Put arguments into lambda. Has 0 init data. This doesn't set the ast serial. Argument decal. Oh, this is a constructor argument. And we don't set the identifier on it. Oops. Okay, let's set the identifier. So this is a declaration that was in a constructor, and it's got no enclosing scope. Don't we have an add arguments argument to lambda? Put arguments into lambda. We do all this stuff. I'm just going to do that. Except no, we don't really need to do all this, actually. I mean, it's messy not to call this standard thing, but it's slightly faster not to. I don't know if it'll ever matter in terms of concrete. But, okay. Okay. So that was an interesting bug, unrelated to anything we ever noticed, that now kicked us in the shins. All right. Now we're asserting that a declaration is queued. Attempt to use an imperative statement. Let's fix these first. So these have to do with these anonymous structs, I assume. Right, this thing. I guess we used to have the handling for these here, and then we cut it out to go to the other thing. Anyway. All right, so wait, what? Did we build? That's weird. Whoopsie. Okay. So what's the variable expr? Expr type asked using. That's legal. But why? Oh, because we put an asked using in front. We shouldn't be doing that. Did we not remove that? Hold on. Expr arrow S. Just let me copy the frickin' thing. Okay. See where we create that. See, I could have just added asked using to that switch, which I need to anyway, because it's correct to have it there. But you also have to ask the question, wait, why did this one end up there? Because I didn't think that this was supposed to happen for that. You need to save the world to make yourself feel better. Saving the world is good. Yes, it's good for morale. For sure. For sure. Okay. Add statement. I see. So we're doing this. But how does this get... How does this get there? Oh, because we run over the whole scope afterward. Okay. This is fine then. It's correct. God, that's so loud. All right. Redeclaration of found. I think we're calling this desugar thing twice. Check and desugar compound declaration. Or we're adding the desugared declarations twice. Let's just see. So let's see if we call this twice with the same compound. Let's turn this off. Arrow S 1074 1635 7879 8193 8269. Okay, this may take a while. I don't see us coming here twice though. Whoops. That was like on the 27th. Okay, hit 30. 31, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 40, 41, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 56. The thing is that the frickin' Visual Studio interface doesn't update soon enough. So like I wait 200 milliseconds and hit it again. And of course, that's when the call stack changes. All right, so 56. $53. I don't even know if it did all 53. 54. 55. What? It's so stupid. I lost count. 50, maybe we're at 50. It's so stupid that it takes so long even to reprint this number. Like, Casey is very frustrated at this, and so am I. It's like, what happens when people are making bad decisions? Okay. I don't know why that other breakpoint was removed. Oh, we never added it. It didn't look to me like we were calling that twice. Oh, this, okay. No. Okay, so this is polymorphic. So what's probably actually happening is we're adding these declarations that are desugared. And if we don't flag them as added by desugaring, they will get copied for polymorph. And then the new ones, I mean, I thought we did that though, right? Compound is removed by desugaring. We reserve created by desugaring. So this is supposed to mean that it doesn't get copied when we polymorph. Also, like, it's bothering me that this is not telling us the variable name. It's not highlighting the full variable name, and this one is. But, okay, one battle at a time. We're just going to run all the way. Wait, what? We must have multiple. No. Uh-oh, are we getting... Oh. We're getting different behavior due to the order of compilation. Attempt to use a non-constant struct member flag pointer without an instance. This has to do with that. Well, okay, so what's happening is the using is just not firing. Because if it were, then we would have a binding for flag pointer that has storage. So that's not happening. Yeah. So when we make these usings, if we do not say that the scope is waiting on the usings, we could have this happen where it like hasn't completed yet. That used to happen all the time when I was debugging the old version. So now this is the parameter using thing. Where was that? This thing that we were looking at. So we say add using for declaration. Let's just step through that and make sure it does things. I want to know specifically for parameters, because that's what is going wrong. Add using for declaration. We call add statement on that. Okay, that's not good, actually. So we need to prevent if this is created by desugaring, not created by desugaring. Okay, but then let's look at this. Add to scope. Add inserter. This is the thing that says, whoa. Oh, I see. Because the first... Right. Okay, that actually makes sense. I don't know why it's not working. Anyway, so there's one thing wrong so far that is not going to fix our bug, but let's do it. Maybe it'll fix our bug, but I don't. This thing here, it's a little bit, we probably should clean it up later, but if the using was created by desugaring, it was probably created by the declaration being flagged. So we don't want to add a declaration as it's already there. We're mostly doing this for flexibility with regard to submitted asks. I think maybe we should clean up this. Okay, so we're going to put that in there, and we're going to say if not asked using flags asked created by desugaring. So if this is actually a using that the user typed, we do that. Let's see, let's hope we didn't break it worse. Okay, we didn't. Same problem. Great. So now I just want to look. So in principle, this should be the second statement in the constructor. The first statement should be a using of this declaration that was inserted there. And maybe that just didn't do anything, but I want to make sure it's there and that it claims it's completed, right? So non-constant struct member, I think it's that one. Maybe it's this one. Hell if I know. Could be any of these. All right. Maybe the Epic Store is going to buy Rad, or Rad will buy the Epic Store, and it'll be so evil nobody will know what to do. It'll be like super heinous evil compounded with evil. Okay, so we're resolving an ident. That's great. So we can look at ident and closing scope, right? That's the imperative block. The parent should be the arguments block. Yes, it is. That's great. Statements 5. So we can look at the statements. I don't know why there's 5 frickin' statements. That scares me. Oh, actually, this isn't showing the rest of the code. So let's go look. Uh, 552. Yeah, okay, so there's 4, and then our using that we inserted should be the first one. It's an operator expression. That's unexpected. Wait, what? Is that this? 0 is an operator expression. 1 is an operator expression. 2 is an operator expression. 3 is an operator expression. 4 is the using. Okay, we put the using in the wrong place. This is a flaw in our plan. All right. You got to put the using at the beginning of the block, not the end of the block. Add using for declaration. Body block. I don't know why this already has 4 statements. Oh, right, because we did already frickin' parse it. Yeah, how did we do this before? Like, what the hell? Let's look at what that used to say. We could put an extra scope called parameter using scope. Oh God, that would be such a mess. Okay. Add using for declaration. This is line 4477 of typer. They're going to diff that. 4477. Okay, so we said maybe do using insertion. What did that do? Oh, this would block us until it's done. Okay. So this version didn't actually put the using into the procedure. It just straight up does the using. Okay. So here's the thing is, if we want to insert the using at the start of the procedure, we would have to do a copy to move all the items in the array. I think that's why I didn't do it that way. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is definitely an issue. We took away our, like, declarations don't actually trigger these anymore. We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do this a different way. We're going to have a new attitude. It's probably not that slow. Any questions about what's going on? We are debugging the code. All right, I'm burning some toast. Now you know it's serious. That's what we need as a little Twitch emoji icon graphic thinger, is a burnt toast, and we also need a chai latte. Why don't I just delete the bug? I could delete the bug. We might make the chai latte a level 3 sub emote though. That would be very capitalist. We got a lot of subs today. I think we got like 5 subs today. It's been a good sub day. Just waiting for the toast to pop up. Oh, that Prime money. We even got a couple non-Prime subs today. Ah, there it goes. Yum, 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 yum. I think the thought process is fairly easy to follow, but can you tell me what the desugar is responsible for and whether refactor around it prompted this consideration? So desugaring in general is a term for, in compilers, when you have one form of syntax tree, like you have a syntax that's easy for the user to type, but you want to represent that internally as something else that is possibly a longer sequence of lower level things, then you do a rewrite on those things to rewrite them as something else, right? And so that's generally what desugaring means. In this case, the thing that we're having a problem with is this kind of a thing. So when you put a parameter list, you can say using on the parameters. And what that actually desugars to, let's just go to a clean buffer here. If I start with this, right, what that actually desugars to is the following thing. It desugars to using this in principle, right? And we're just putting the using this in the wrong place. And so I'm going to fix it by moving that. And maybe that'll be a little slow and that'll make me sad, but Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Is there a video out there on my current thoughts on the different revision control solutions? No. Ever consider making it so I could type not foo instead of foo equals not foo? No, I never have considered that. And I'm still not considering it. If I could move the whole company to any city, where would I go? I'm not sure. Maybe just Berkeley. I mean, maybe a 0% income tax state, but I don't know. Isn't Berkeley just as expensive? Almost. It's just not as much of a shithole if you're in like North Berkeley or somewhere. And all the interesting things I do are often in the East Bay. Did I enjoy my time at UC Berkeley? No, I did not. I did not. How is current threading in the compiler organized? You saw lots of semaphore wait in profile views. Did you have a scheduler that posts tasks to different threads? The compiler only has limited threading at this time. So only the parser and lexer are parallelized. And, well, that's done with a simple job system where there's queues with job descriptions in them that you grab a mutex and pull the item off the queue. It's pretty straightforward. Maybe moving to Berkeley for potential job. Okay. How am I doing? I'm doing all right. We're getting stuff done here, which is good. You're a Cal alumni, you agree? Yeah, I mean, it's more, for me, it's more like I just never was that much a school kind of guy. I always wanted to do my own things more than I wanted to do the school things. So I am not sure that I would have been happy at most universities. But I didn't have a fun time. And also, I didn't have a very good family structure growing up. And so I was basically still a confused kid when I went to college, like very confused about life and didn't know how to do anything and had to kind of just like drift and figure that out. What sort of optimizations does it do? None. We do no optimizations right now. Yeah. University categorized as a research institution might have been more fun, you know. Am I still drifting? Not really. You almost immediately identified that your professors had no real-world programming experience. That could be a problem. That could be a problem. Of course, if they have too much real-world programming experience in the wrong way, they might just teach you all kinds of bad stuff. Because it's not like most people doing real-world programming are doing good stuff. You know what I'm saying? It is not like that. I'm just looking at somebody sent me their website link to their game. Well, do I dream about code? Sometimes. I actually don't remember my dreams most of the time unless I try really hard on waking up. And even then, I just remember them for a little bit and then forget them. I had a programming professor whose last experience was definitely 30 years ago that kept going on about how we should read over every line of code super carefully because they used to have a limited number of times to try to compile their program. Yeah. Different strategies for different situations. You mentioned that compiler does unload files. Does it do that when a file is no longer referenced anywhere? Can there be a case when a compilation of another file reports an error that needs the unloaded file? No. No, so here's what happens. So error reporting is not considered something that needs to be fast because, like, you know, most of your builds should not be reporting errors, right? So when there's an error to report where we want to say, hey, it's in this line and we want to show you the line like we're doing here, this doesn't even look at the version of the text that the compiler loaded. What happens is we spawn off a thing that just says print line 552 of this file in the surrounding context, and it just reopens the file from nothing and goes there and prints it, which sounds very inefficient, and yes it is, but it is much better for compiler structure than trying to be efficient about that because it's frickin' error reporting. Nobody cares, right? Strategic decision there. Do I get the Humble monthly bundle? I think not. I don't subscribe. Do I feel like the language is meeting my goals in terms of being convenient and joyful to developing game in? Yes, that part has been going great for the entire History. Have I tried the Waking Up Meditation course? No. I have done other things in real life to learn meditation. That's not robust. What if it changes? Yeah, there could be a race condition between when the compiler loads the file the first time and when we report the error. That is true. Maybe we should CRC the file to detect that. Do I read fiction books? Sometimes. Oh boy, let's get back to this before the bell of midnight strikes and we start getting tired. Doesn't it compile in like a second? Yes. But race conditions don't need a second to happen. They can happen in very small, oh my God, Fulbright scholar. They can happen in very short amounts of time. Don't I have a way to print the code directly from the AST? Not at compiler level. That's like a user level library. And we don't want to, like calling out to that to report errors would be really Byzantine. And what if somebody's using their own print thing, you know, and it does something different? And right now, anyway, wow, I'm maybe starting to want some sleep. I don't remember what I was going to say. What was I saying? Oh, right now our AST printer code isn't character by character accurate. We sort of now reproduce a program that is basically the same, but without comments and without white space matching. Eventually, we want to be comments and white space matching, but right now we are not. And so for the purposes of printing errors, I would much rather just print your actual file. That said, I realize, God, look at this. You guys can't tell. I'm trying to scroll, and it's like lagging by several hundred milliseconds just to scroll up or down a line. I have no idea why the fuck this is so slow. Oh my God. It's like a random amount of lag between 0 and like 250 milliseconds. Collapse of civilization, man. Okay, I want to put this on the list that this is not important to fix yet, but first ident in a comma separated assignment doesn't have its lexical range set properly. We will fix that, but not yet. Not to mention that AST isn't necessarily the code that the programmer wrote. That is true. However, we do have these desugaring flags so that in principle, we can print what the original code was. Indexing nil values is not cheap. That's true. Okay. So what we got to do here we're going to do an inefficient solution to this. We're going to mark it with a speed thing. I don't know, man. Okay. So when we actually perform a using, we do this thing where we insert stuff oh boy, this is totally wrong now. Let's mark that. Okay. So we make an import declaration for, oh wait, this is, wait, we add this to the target scope, not at the head? And that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter because it has no storage. Oh, it's static if that does this. And this doesn't actually insert. Okay. Here's what I want to do. I want to do this a different way completely from how it's being done. I want to when we parse the header or receive it from messaging, I want to do these at that time. And at that time, the body will be empty. So if we put things in the body, they will be at the beginning, and that'll be fine. I don't want to have to do any of this weird stuff that I'm doing. Okay. So this whole thing goes bam, which I'm happy about. This one's a little weird. I think we're going to want to change how we handle that eventually. Anyway, we're not thinking about that right now. So when we put an argument into lambda, right? What was it called? Put arguments into lambda. That is going to do this. Okay. That is going to do this. Okay. Maybe add usings to the body. If, well, we know it's the arguments block. So we just check this. And this. Not this, I mean. Okay. If we're not in a polymorphic function, and it's marked as using, okay. So, there, and then this is going to need okay. Well, let's see what happens there. 196 decal. It's called argdecal, I guess. Argdecal. Fatty argdecal. It's a scope entry. This is in the arguments block, so it has to be a declaration. At some point, we might make a different block type that's like got a declaration array instead of a scope entry array. But we don't have that right now. Arg lambda, undeclared identifier. Lambda. Although, we actually don't know for sure at this point whether the lambda is polymorphic. So we may just be adding usings to a polymorphic body, no big. Okay. Put arguments in lambda. Statements in block after return. What? Wow. Okay, well, let's fix that. This is obviously the using. I don't know why that's tripping that. I don't think it should be putting the usings at the end anymore, but maybe it is. Maybe we call put arguments into lambda. So let's put a frickin' assert here. Oh no. No, we definitely, okay. This is the wrong time. We're like putting them at the end again. I'm confused. Okay. Okay, this is especially bad. I forgot. So what I forgot is, again, people can submit their procedure as a syntax tree, and we need to add these usings. So we need to be able to do that even after the body is there. So my plan of just putting it at the start is not really fine. Wait, what is going on here? Why are we calling put arguments into lambda multiple times? This looks bad. We're going to put that on the list as well. Anyway. So we said make quick lambda. Quick lambdas can't have usings, so I'm not really worried about the timing there. This is after we parse the body for sure. Yeah. Modified directives don't have usings. This is polymorph. So this is after it's been, yeah, so in all cases, this is after the body exists, which is fine. So because I keep getting confused about this, I'm going to say, also collect any usings that we may want to insert. We need to do this after the body already exists, even at parse time for user submitted asks the body's already going to be there. So there isn't any hope of adding the users to the top of the statement list before other statements go there. So we need to do a copy. Okay. Okay. Now. Wait, what happened? Did it delete my code? Bro, what the hell? Right? Yeah. Remember we copied this line about polymorphism and God damn it, dude. It's like, don't I have enough work to do without this kind of bullshit happening? I would take a screenshot of this for preventing the collapse of civilization, but you can't screenshot code that doesn't exist because it was deleted. File, save as. You cannot screenshot code that doesn't exist because it was deleted. This happens to me at least once a session now. It seems to be happening more often. I don't think it's Emacs's fault. I think it's Visual Studio's fault. I think Visual Studio says fuck you and auto-saves a file once in a while without checking whether you've modified it with an external program. And it has an old copy. It's like Visual Studio thinks it has the newest copy, but it actually has an older copy. Just use the VOD. No, we'll do it again because we need something slightly different anyway. Okay. So we need this. We want to say, oh man, we did our whole thing about argdecal. And like it was a, oh, we did that. This is, wait, this is still here. I must have deleted it because I decided it was wrong. Because this part of what we did is still here and this happened second. I don't know, maybe it was a weird deletion, but maybe if we go back at the video, like I deleted it. I'm just annoyed because definitely it does auto-delete often. And maybe this was one case of that, maybe it wasn't. Okay, so if argdecal declaration flags and this and not lambda Okay, so again, I had my whole comment. If we don't want to do this insertion, we could maybe insert an extra scope containing the guides. Originating inside. Which is worse? I don't know. Okay. If usings to prepend dot items, we do something. Now, the problem is that this thing that we were calling before may be something. Maybe was it maybe do using insertion? Yeah. Oh, that's what the other thing called. That is not what we call here. Using for decal. Suing. Add using for declaration. This calls add statement, which is not awesome. I'm especially not sure if I want to call that from here, but we can't do this yet. We have to do okay. Very simple. Got to do everything twice. Every goddamn thing twice because it's C++. Okay, so our add put arguments into lambda. Down here, we say if we have usings to prepend, then block statements dot items, old num statements, new num statements, plus usings to prepend dot items, block statements dot resize, new num statements for int I equals old num statements minus 1. I is greater than or equal to zero, I minus minus. We're going to say block statements sub I plus usings to prepend dot items equals block statements sub I, so we're shifting all the items forward. And then for in I equals 0, I is less than using this to prepend items I plus block statements I equals usings to prepend I. Remember when I was in computer science school and like they had you write these things as sample programs and you wouldn't always get them right because I don't know, man. Anyway. Okay. Do I still making a new language and compilers on a similar level of difficulty or easier than making a AAA game? Definitely. Definitely much easier. Way easier than a AAA game. Hey, look, we've got our same problem. That seems weird. Oh, because we never did this. Ha ha. Okay. Missing a paren. Okay. Hey, we got to a different problem. Now, oh, of course, these usings don't have their enclosing scope frickin' set. Because we're not calling. You know what? Let's do this. Let's do it here. We may regret it later, that's for sure. For sure. We're back to this. I guess that's good. This is the other problem that we were having when we were compiling in a different order. So I guess that means we solved our other problem, maybe. I don't know. Maybe all those functions are deadlocked and not proceeding because we added usings. Okay. Entry new, entry old. Entry old's flags are, oh no, we want scope entry flags. Wait. Scope entry flag 0, entry new, scope entry flags 0. Okay. So this is a polymorphic procedure, and for some reason this scope entry ain't getting flagged. Enclosing scope belongs to lambda. I assume it belongs to the copy. Polymorph source lambda 0. No, what? Okay. Here's what's happening is even though the lambda is polymorphic, we're desugaring into it, which we shouldn't do. But wait, that should set the desugaring flag. Dude, okay. We're just going to see where this is constructed. Nope, nope. Just fucking let me do the thing. Jesus. Oh, now we have to put it into our text. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed the witness. Thanks for enjoying the game. It's taking us a while to get to this breakpoint. That's actually a good sign. It means that we're compiling moderately successfully. Maybe. Make sure Visual Studio didn't rewrite any files. There is no way to make sure of that. If it wants to foil you, it will do it. It will. Foil you. Okay. Desugar. Oh wait, desugaring isn't a scope entry flag, right? It's an ast flag. So why is it getting copied? It's getting copied because the path for creating declarations is different. And maybe doesn't check the desugar flag. That is my theory. This is my theory about the Brontosaurus. My theory, which is mine. Lots of things are Emacs's fault, but I don't know that I would agree. Wait, what? Oh, I pre-ordered something on Amazon and I just got the thing for it. Forgot that was coming out. It wasn't a game, it's a book or a novella or something. I got the Kindle copy. Okay. So, my theory about the Brontosaurus is yes. We don't seem to check added by desugaring here. Actually, you know what? This is weird. What I was saying here is not really true. Actually, I think this isn't true. We could easily do this without bumping the statements for the parser. Just hold the messenger's statements in a holding array until after you reprocess the arguments. Okay, but not now. We don't want to randomize things anymore. We want to converge. So if the parser was passed, use that for the allocation for best speed, otherwise use the interp. Okay, that I don't care about. So we get a declaration. In copier, we're copying the block. And we're adding the statement to dest. But why did dest? Oh, because we copy members first. So loud. So loud. Well, that didn't help. Oh, because do members is probably false. I don't frickin' know. Oh, no? Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Whoops, actually we wanted that. Let's wait for this breakpoint again. Waiting for this to happen. Waiting for this to happen. Okay. Dude, dealing with Sony Japan is freaking insane. I can't handle it. All right. So we make this declaration. This is happening when we're adding this statement to the target block. Right, okay, so we didn't do members. Dest members is 0. Okay. Well, add that to the desugared declarations. We add that to the desugared declarations. We finish. Okay, great. And then we do this. And then we do, how much do you want to bet we do this twice? How much do you want to bet we do this in here and down here? Let's see. Maybe not. Really? Oh, it's like this one was... 0 is compound declaration. 1 is yeah, this one, okay. This is, we also need to add a desugar check. Well, we got to a different error. Okay, so I assume that this is just a using not working, like we're not waiting for a using properly. Because format int uses formatter. So if that using has not completed, we should not be allowing ourselves to look at the thing. So ident enclosing scope. Oh no, not that. That's not what we want. Oh gee, hey, I have another screenshot of Emacs deleting half my file. Emacs deleting half my file. Why would Emacs do this? Because it's getting a notification from Windows saying this file has been modified, right? But often, this is the annoying thing about the Windows File Notification API. You'll get the first of those like while the file is being written out, right? So Visual Studio is writing the new version of the file, and that's a buffered series of fwrites or whatever the equivalent is, right? So as soon as the first one of those happens, you get a notification, oh, this file's changed. But it's not done being changed, right? So if you read the file too soon, then you get a half version of the file, right? That said, it does notice that the buffer shrunk a lot and it marks it modified for some reason. I guess that's what it does in that case. But like, how about actually loading the file when it changes? And the funny thing is, this used to work fine in Emacs and then they broke it later. This used to be great. And because they don't care about Windows, or because it's too big of an editor with too much crap, so the actual useful things don't get maintained. This broke, and I don't know, maybe they fixed it again. I don't even bother to look because Emacs seems like a decaying ecosystem to me, right? Emacs seems like the American space program in the 1990s and 2000s. Isn't it the fault of the OS for sending the message that the thing changed? No, because the thing did change, right? It might be the fault of the OS for not having a protocol where it can tell you that the person changing the file has finished changing it and closed it, right? I'm not sure if that exists or not. But maybe you want to know, like, how do you know that they're writing to the entire file and they're going to close it? They may keep it open and keep modifying it. The operating system doesn't know what you want to know. Like, it could just be a frickin' database file being written by a long-running process. It doesn't know. All right, people, I'm starting to get tired, but I want to investigate this one at least slightly. Value is not a member of format int. Oh yeah, we were going to look at what the scope is, and it's find in block target scope. Target scope has 3 members, which is probably, yeah, 1, 2, 3. So the using has not happened. In fact, the using, well, it looks like it hasn't even been inserted or anything. Yeah, this is a declaration marked as using, but we probably don't do anything about this yet in a declarative block. Does Windows have an atomic file swap? I don't know. That's definitely what I would like programs to do when they save out files. Yeah, you want to know that an atomic change happened, which is what would happen if the program made a change atomically, but it didn't. You know, if somebody writes out an entire file and then swaps it, that's an atomic change, right? If it just starts modifying a file, that's not atomic. (64-bit comp exchange on the file pointer). Okay, that's going to work. That's going to work just fine. All right, so the next job is to when we do add statement, that's not the thing. Here, I guess we're not calling add statement if it's a declarative scope or something. Oh, because it's, yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to investigate that. I'm going to do bedtime. Let's see who we could visit today. I feel like the goal for next stream, which might happen tomorrow morning if I wake up soon enough, we're going to try to get using completely working. We've gotten it pretty far. I mean, it's hard to tell. These cases that we appear to have fixed might be like deadlocked on something, but hopefully they're not. So hopefully we can get using working in all these cases. So the imperative scope, we had the regular imperative scope, we had the using an argument, and now we've got using in a data scope. The stuff that we may have a little bit of a problem with is top level scopes and usings being exported or not correctly, but actually that should kind of be okay. We should be able to fix that. It's probably not correct yet. Let's see who's in science and technology. No Pokemon tonight. Yeah, I think that's only Thursday through Sunday or whatever. Top secret mode engaged. Math 140 office hours. What is Math 140? This looks like vector cross products. We could do math. We could raid Math 140 office hours. This is matrix math. Let's go do Math 140.
Yeah, I did very good. I think there's a mistake. Looks fine to me. Maybe fine.
It's probably the TA, right? There's no way. Okay, let's see if there's anything besides Math 140. Seals of Eternity, college project. Launch week hype.
The run is very much alive.
That doesn't look like programming. Terrafall modding. Random projects in Rust. Playing around in Godot. Adding matrices to my CMath library. Beginner game development. I don't see the last project I get to do of graduate school.
What do we have here? Diary?
Some Minecraft mod? What? Is he just playing Minecraft? He gets to play Minecraft for graduate school? Skull is programming. Hell is other demons. Is he? All right. Well, I'll take your word for it. We will raid this.
Okay, this is dangerous, but
And I'll see you guys later.
I think it's worth it.
Six, 5, 4, 3, 2. Waiting for this to compile. Shouldn't be waiting for things to compile.